Okay, so our first presentation, it's I from Luxembourg about 3D modeling in online learning for pre-service elementary school teachers at the University of Luxembourg. Please.
Thank you very much for the introduction. So I will present today our project Math Educ at the University of Luxembourg in our bachelor for primary grades. So first let me start with, so I will jump a little bit around in the presentation as I only have 10 minutes to present. So the context is that we are in Luxembourg, a very small country in between Belgium, Germany, and France. We are a very small country with only 625 people living here. And our university is a university of the 21st century. So we have only been funded in 2005. So we are very, very young, a very, very young university. And we have a very, very complex school system. So if you look at this, I know it's quite small, but that's because there's so much information on it. So our school system has on one hand our general primary education, and on the other hand offers also a German Luxembourgish version. It offers an international European education, and it offers UK style education, because from the 625 people, only half of them are Luxembourgers. So we have a lot of foreigners living here, which makes things very, very complicated for public school. So you see that our primary grades are for 6 years, and this differs from Germany, for example. We are doing school monitoring, but I'm jumping over that to keep the time. And I will come to the main topic of the talk today. So we are doing a lot of research with these students, and we are basing a lot of our research on Bloom and Lysis modeling diagram. So we are trying in math education and in STEAM education to really focus on the real world. So we are always trying to embed all our problems, all our situations in the real world, start from there. And of course, we need to get to mathematics first, solve it there, and go back to the situation and to the real world. Of course, this can be extended to STEAM education. The modeling process is similar. We are doing this in two different main topics. I will just talk quite quickly about Math City Map, because in the title I focused on 3D. Nevertheless, I want to mention that in Math City Map, developed at the Goethe University in Frankfurt, where Gregor is coming from, you have the possibility to develop different tasks. And we found out in our analysis that even if we started with mathematical tasks, quite quickly we discovered that students, in fact, modeled STEAM tasks. So they were embedding a little bit of science, but a lot of technology, engineering, and some at least the creativity from arts in these tasks. So in our project in phase 3, we found this out using cluster analysis. The students were working in groups developing these tasks, and currently we are in phase 4 of this, and now we are extending it, so the students are co-evaluating themselves using 10 questions on a Likert scan. So this for Mars City Map, which was our start to come to the real world. And the next step was that in this Mars City Map, as you develop tasks, you are using situations, buildings, monuments and so on in the real world and ask questions about them. So the next step was to analyze these different buildings, and of course we discovered there's a lot of mathematics in them. So the next step was to go towards 3D, and we have splitted this 3D modeling into three different phases. The first one is the 3D design. So our students take a monument, a bridge, a church, or a water tower, or a city hall like you see here. And so they take a static element and they design it. Mainly in Autodesk Tinkercad or using GeoGebra's 3D graphic calculator. So the two pictures you see here are from Autodesk Tinkercad. So this is a city hall, the city hall of Marmar, and you have the water tower in Dudelange, which was used by the steel factories in the last century. After designing these buildings, the next step was, of course, to print them. So we acquired a Craftbox Plus Pro printer, which is very useful because it is robust and it doesn't make too much noise. So you can even use it in classroom. And also there we started the first part of phase 4, which has been accomplished, was to print out some of these designs. And we had quite impressive things which were produced, like here's the City Hall of Esch-sur-Alzette in the south of the country. You have in the same town a very interesting bridge. Then you have a very old train, which is in the west of the country. So also there quite impressive design, which was a little bit harder to print. And then you have the youth hostel in Echternach, also where you can see that a lot of details have been realized. All this wooden facade, and also the stones at the stone wall has been realized quite.
Quick reminder, well. two more minutes.
Yeah, I will finish just on time. So the next step we are doing currently with 30 students is that we extended this phase 4, and we have come to an iterative design. So now we are trying to produce functional object. So each object should have a function. This can be whatever, a car where the wheels turn. This can be a marble machine. This this can be like a pen to write. Students are trying to redesign a pen, which is quite complicated. So we will report on this as soon as as the students are finished and we have more detail. And the last thing, we have also just started this year, so a few weeks ago, is what is missing so far is the 3D scan. So we acquired also a quite performant 3D scanner, and we are working together also with IFA, and we are trying to find out how this design process can be fastened using scanning, which is not so easy as it sounds at the beginning. So this is a little wrap up of what we have been doing so far, and I'm happy to discuss all these topics and answer all potential questions. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. The presentation was great, also with the slides that weren't actually slides. So now it's time for the questions. Yes, Shah has something to say.
Yeah, thank you for the nice presentation. It was short and sweet, which I have to learn also. My question is that the pre-service teachers using this 3D printers, do they have a training, technical? Do they have also technical support to handle these 3D printers and also these 3D scanners?
Yes. So what the main training we have been doing so far is that we have shown them how to use the slicer application. And the main features you can use, about supports and so on, about temperatures, about how to lay out, because that's also a very important thing, how to lay out the different objects before printing. So the other thing is that due to the pandemic, things are quite complicated at the moment. So currently students do not have access to the printers yet. So they send us the final G-code files, and we just launch them on the printers. That's also why there was a camera attached to record the printing, so that if things go wrong, students can't see it. At least we can send them a video and say, and they can analyze what's not working. Regarding 3D scanning, we are currently, we only acquired the scanner end of the year. So we have it for 3 months and are experiencing ourselves at the moment, but we have planned to have a session with the students end of April, beginning of March, to explore it together with them. Of course, we will split these 30 students in smaller groups, because with one scanner, if you have 30 students, it will be 1 working and 29 looking, which won't be very effective. So we are planning to work with them with the scanner during a seminar, but we haven't had time to do this experience so far.
Yeah. Do I have, if others don't have any question, I have a question, but I'll come back later. I give others opportunities to ask, post questions.
I think right now there's no question, so you can point out your question.
Thank you. Thank you, Yus, for the explanation. At the University of Saarland, we have also bought a 3D printer, but we have not given to the students to use it. Maybe we can plan a seminar in this direction. And another technical question is that do they use some kind of a protection to, for example, gloves, so that the objects are very hard? And so do they use some kind of these things to protect themselves when they use 3D printers?
No. And so I have been printing a lot of things, and also Ben, who is here, has been doing a lot of prints. Ben has also been working a lot with students in primary grades, so not only with pre-service teachers,
yeah.
but in fact there are only two things who are really hot on the printer. So the plate is at 60, 70 degrees Celsius. So even if you touch it as an adult, this is not, it's warm, but it's not disastrous for children. It's a little bit different. What you need to avoid to touch is, of course, the extruder, who is at over 200 degrees. But even there, if you need to clean it, you can do it with some normal towel, and that works fine. But I think if you are using it in school with young children, you need to pay attention that they do not touch inside of the printer. But I think they realize quite quickly that it is hot. However, the printed element, the plastic, isn't so hot. So in fact, right after printing it, you can touch it without problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
I was just suggesting, Ben, maybe you want to add something from your experience?
Yes, I want just to add what he just told. So when we work with kids, we use 3D printing with filament from this, and we are not using a resin or something else which could harm or be dangerous for their health. So actually we're using the 3D printing with 4-year-olds on. From different settings, so they know where to touch, where not to touch. In fact, you just can burn yourself if you put your hand on the nozzle while it's very hot, and that you do while experimenting. It happened twice to me. Then you burn your fingers. But the other stuff, and we use the Craftbot Pro, which has a case around it, so it's very difficult to get yourself burned. So we don't need gloves or something. But we have a procedure with the children. We say when it's going, we wait till the sign comes out, but they can observe every stuff. So it works really, really well. And it's very easy to use. So they would take some time in the 3D modeling process to understand how to modulate the geometric shapes or to combine, or how to understand the program. But after several weeks, they can do it. And this iterative process Yves just told, which we are starting now with pre-service teachers, we're testing actually in grade 4, where students design a functional elevator and a functional car. So this engineering is coming more and more into the procedures, which is very interesting, which you can actually combine, Gregor, with coding and computational thinking. So, but although that we started so many stuff, we're still at the beginning, because you discover each time that there are more and more possibilities to do. But at some point you need to have the right equipment. So really an investment in a good 3D printer which is secure. And luckily we can really work closely with Craft Unique and get feedbacks on the works, and that is very suitable for schools. Although it's not given for a low price, but it's really working well. Just that was my part for today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? I was just wondering whether the interest in teachers, if you figured out there that specific types, maybe, I don't know, the gender, that are more interested in working with the 3D modeling and printing.
That's difficult to say, because yeah, right from the beginning, the interest to becoming a primary grade teacher is not equal between genders. So we have more female students, but on the other hand, I think that the interest is, for me, it's the same. Maybe I can add something else, that if you are doing this 3D modeling, the 3D printing adds a very important motivational part to them. So we did the same thing now with all our regular students in semester 2. So with 108 students. And we told them that, of course, we cannot print all 108 designs. It will simply take too much time. So we will organize some sort of challenge where they can vote on, give points to their co-students. And we will only print the best X ones, so we haven't defined yet. And I had now 3 tutorials with students where in some way Tinkercad, let's say, crashed, so they cannot continue to work on their model. They are nearly finished, but they cannot extract an STL file to be printed, and they are really sad about it, because they know that their design can't be printed now. Which really stresses out this motivational part. And I think I know from Ben's experience that in schools it's exactly the same thing. So the children want to have their design in their hands afterwards. That's very important.
Okay, thank you. As the discussion time is officially up, the next presenter would be me.
So I will then take over, Petra.
Thank you. And I'm monitoring my time myself, but if I'm too distracted, you can remind me, please.
So the next speaker will be our session chair, Petra Ackerlauer, from the University of Linz. With the title of presentation, Understanding School Environments for Implementing Innovation, Structure Analysis and Coherence Theory. We are very pleased to hear your presentation, Petra.
Thank you. As I pointed out, I'm from a different field. I'm from the education, the general education science, and not particularly from STEAM education. But then in Linz, the PhD programs are joined, and Scholz is the instructor. I'm happy to present today. And I was thinking, what benefit can my research be for the STEAM, for the early career STEAM education? And I came up with some models that I just want to introduce for if you're doing innovations in schools, like design-based research, what can be important from a general education perspective. And this is understanding structures. So what's the field that I want to implement my innovation? Does it look like? And I give you some theory, something about my research, and some implications. Okay. In the social analytic sciences, we consider communities also in school as more or less an arena of actors that follow sometimes or often historically grown structures of communication and also of ethics. So what to do? It's like the unwritten rules, or so to say, about how to act in this field, and this can differ a lot from school to school, also from science areas. And it's important because it matters how schools work and how people in it arrange each other. So I was excited to hear about Parsons' theory of those structures. And just to give you some very small examples, when I have this great idea what I want to do in class, I'm a primary school teacher, so I've been teaching for 12 years in 3 different schools. And two of them were actually practice schools, so we had a lot of students coming and observing, so we should be really excellent, so to say. So you can see quite quickly whether it's a teacher-centered style, the class arrangement, or if the teacher is trying to make the pupils self-efficient in their learning. So he's more or less like a coach or a helper, and the structures of communication should not be bound to him everything, but within the students, so in the communicative learning. So we have a lot of ideas, but then when you go to classes, you figure out that the teachers have different styles, and the perfect way would be to vary them according to the lesson you want to do. So my research is on data feedback, and then there's this, when you have this innovative idea, which is an older one with data feedback, you have an expected effect model, so that the data feedback inspires in this case with my QOP design, the teacher training, and then you get better results at the end. So this is the idea, but then of course when you go to the field and we see what is the outcome at the end, we realize, I just put together several articles, that the outcome is not necessarily the things that we expected or the effects that we wanted, but there are a lot of unwanted effects, or maybe they are even good but not planned, because it's such a complex construct we have. And why is that? That's the next thing, because just going back, for example, one thing is the quality of the feedback. So it's not the same how the feedback is and what it wants to feed back. It makes a difference. So to cut it short, because I'm looking at the time, we have this process how the data feedback gets. We can take it for development, let's say. And then we have a lot of influencing factors on class level, on system level. The school is also in a country, and so on and so on. With micropolitics, a lot of things to look at. And then I just picked out some of my favorite models that explain a bit of what's going on from Whisker and Coa. So you have in the middle the usage of data, school performance feedback systems, and you have the design process, the features, how it's implemented, then of course the school organization features, how it's used, and then some intended and unintended effects. Or I will just quickly do this part. The shield they are really from the Netherlands, really, when it comes to data feedback and make it useful for school development, they are really much ahead, especially when I think of Austria, where we are still at the beginning in a lot of phases. So you have the policies, the outcomes, the data use, and the enablers and the barriers, and it all works together. And then we have also a lot of research about usage and user types. And then what I found most interesting is that if you have phase structure where the participants, the actors, are not able to work freely or communicate freely, you find a lot of this symbolic use of data. So they will not, they won't have the time or the resources to really discuss it and reflect it, but still they have to bring some outcome to the stakeholders. So they imply forms of symbolic usage. So from the outside, it looks like, oh, there's innovation happening and they're doing this and that. And then if you look closer in the classrooms, or what I did in my research, I did interviews. So I'm looking at the role of communication in this process. And I found out this is my instrument, and not going further, maybe in the questions. But what I found in the case study is that you have these hierarchical structures, and you don't have good communication structures. And then you implement a data feedback that's maybe not accepted, or it's maybe not accurate for this situation. Then you can find as if forms, so they might still use it, and from the outside it might still look innovative, but for the students, for their learning, when it comes back to that, because that's what we want to produce, so to say, in schools, good learning outcome, there's no use of it. And that's really sad, because you can just spare this whole money and do something that's really useful for the end idea of learning. Yeah. Okay. Yes, 1 minute. So all these, when we investigate phenomena like this, so why is there a symbolic usage of data feedback, and why doesn't it have a real impact on changing some things? We can look at all these variables and make some assumptions. For example, in my case, I found out it was, yes, that's the time up. So I wrap it up. High visibility of a school, and a huge, maybe a old huge school structure, even if there are resources, so there's money, and can still not be beneficial if they have a communication structure that's a barrier to real innovation. And I think this is an important. So this is where my research and my whole idea starts, and it's also an important idea for the STEAM education. If you want to go with innovations, that sometimes the best idea can crash when the structures in the school you want to work with are just not fitting. So I just go to my last slide. To make this work, the innovation has always to work in two ways. So on one side, I have to make the school and the class understand what my idea is, and on the other hand, also I have to understand the situational conditions. Maybe the language resources of children is very important, and then adapt my model or my innovation to what I have and what the children can work with. Okay, thank you. questions.
Thank you very much for your interesting talk, Petra. So, questions for our speaker? Ben, go ahead.
Yes, I've had, you mentioned a lot of parts of when you want to try innovation or change of practice in school. And you have hierarchical structures, you have a head of school head, and in schools we are not like in most private enterprises that is more flexible, but we have very strong old-fashioned leaderships who are still there, often very low women in leadership, which is also very surprising because most of the teachers, as Eve mentioned, are female, but when you take the directors or the heads of the schools, they are mostly old white males, as I say that. So, so you have a lot of, you mentioned a lot, you have the communication, you have the leadership, and I was thinking maybe it would be interesting to consider when this innovation process is, or did you consider this instrumental genesis, where how is the teacher finally using the innovation? Is he using it the way you give it to him? So you do something, he takes it and he applies it in class, and does this change something, or is it like he gets something and he's transfer it to a situation he would like, or is creating something new? And maybe could be interesting to see how this affects communication, or what is the leadership role? Because from my experience, often it's one person who is driving the whole business, and when this person is gone, the whole system crashes down. So I know. Maybe did you thought about that, or did you have this in the process of your research?
Yes. First of all, Ulla is investigating why so less headmasters are female. And then also what you said about the system crashes, I experienced that a lot in school, that a class is so bound to one person that if this one goes out and the substitute comes in, it would crash more or less. But what you said, from the papers I read, it is most likely that they transform it. So we have this theory of by Fendt, whatever concept is introduced to them, it always has to go through translation processes to meet the new environment or the structures already existing. So they would always transform it in some way or another, not take it the way you give it to them, but they have to make this sense-making process. And when it comes to school environments, if you have to really a staff of teachers, it would be a collective. I didn't even get to this point with the coherence theory. So they would have to make this sense-making process of this innovation in a collective way, so that they agree on some points at least to have the same understanding of something. And from what I experienced in the schools I worked with, and also the ones I investigated, that is not really the case always. That you have it in new or not in the regular system schools that are very free to do their own thing, and they have to talk about things because they have not this regulation, and then it's easier. But within the system, what you find a lot is that teachers are really in their classroom. They are used to being autonomous, so they rule to point it out. And then, but still, there are a community in the school, and here is the point that's interesting. How are they connected, and how do the concepts they have about how good learning can take place? How does this overlap? Yes. Any more?
Okay. I do have a question. Thank you for your presentation. It was very interesting. I just want to ask you, what are the next steps of your research? What have you planned?
Okay, I did my pilot interviews on my own school because it was easy to access. And now I'm redefining my my model, which is also the basis for my coding book. So I always have these little parallels. I do qualitative research with content analysis. And from my first pilot interviews, I see that the things that I thought would be relevant sometimes are not the things that come up in the interviews. So I adapted it, and now I want to, my next step I'm going to do, of all the schools that participated in this data project, data feedback project, I want to do more interviews. This is maybe the first thing to consider. And from the analysis of the interviews, it would be interesting, what do I need to know about the school? Because sometimes it's an observation thing. The architecture, do they have rooms where they meet? Do they have times where they discuss such things? Not everything you find in interviews. Some things is just you have to be at that place to get a feeling for it. How they connect as a teaching community. And then I would just see if there are patterns from school to school that are different or alike, and then see how I go from there.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Further questions for Petra? No further questions. Then I think we can thank Petra again for presenting this this ongoing starting project, and wish her good luck with everything.
Thank you.
And from the timing, I think we are also at the end of this 10 minutes discussion time. So maybe I hand over again to Petra to introduce our last speaker.
I can do it, or you can do it. I will do it. So thank you for doing the session, Chair Ives, and I can introduce to you Marina Ottenhofer. And she's doing a presentation on the educational pyramid scheme, a sustainable way of bringing innovations to school. Thank you, Marina.
Okay, thank you very much. I will share my screen. Yeah. Oops. Okay, can you see my presentation now?
Perfectly well.
Perfectly well. Okay, great. So welcome to my presentation about the educational pyramid scheme, which is an innovative training model, a teacher training model. My name is Marina Ottenhofer. I'm a PhD student in my second year here at the Johannes Kepler University in Linz. I also work in 2 different projects at the JKU, and originally I'm a language teacher, yes, and now over detours I came into the field of STEM education. So before I talk about the educational pyramid scheme, I want to give you some background information. So the educational pyramid scheme, I would just call it EPS for the rest of my presentation. The EPS is a product of our project Modeling at School, which is an Erasmus Plus project. It started in November 2018, and lasts until October 2021, so a few more months to go. And yes, so our team, you can see it here, it's Dr. Barbara Sabitzer, which is the head of our team, then Heike de Male-Meusel and I. We collaborate with our partners from the University of Jyväskylä with Dr. Christoph Fenniveshi as the head of the team and his colleague Tina Mäkelä, and also with the University of Rey Juan Carlos, which is in Madrid, Spain, with Gregorio Robles, let's say it's Spanish, as the head of the Spanish team. So, and we work with, as the name already reveals, we work with models as a teaching and learning strategy. And in detail, we work with models from the field of computer science and use it as an innovative teaching and learning strategy for children from primary school up to higher secondary school. And with this learning strategy, we want to bring computational thinking into different school subjects. And yes, we work with different models. For example, here's the entity relationship diagram, or the class diagram, which is part of the UML, Unified Modeling Language in Computer Science, or one of my favorite ones, the activity diagram. Activity diagram is great to work with algorithms, to show processes, or in the language classroom, for example, grammar rules. Okay, in this case, you can see how it's possible to organize a homeschooling day and to get an overview in order not to forget some of the tasks. So, and now in our project, we do have an innovation, which is modeling in this case. And now we have the challenge to bring this innovation in a short time to into the educational system and to reach as many teachers as well as students as possible. Yeah, there's one problem in the school system. The teacher training often is short term. So teachers come into an institution and have a 2 to 3 hour workshop. And often this has a low impact, or is not very sustainable, especially if you want to convey an innovation or a complex topic such as computational thinking. So, and we were thinking about how to escape this vicious circle, and we came up with the educational pyramid scheme. Yes, and now I want to show you the pyramid scheme in detail. So the educational pyramid scheme consists of 5 main pillars. The first and very important one is that we do not only focus on teachers in our training sessions, we also focus on pupils and students in the teacher training program. And we also do have different levels in our training system, and I will talk about that more in detail, yes, in a few minutes. And the second pillar is that we establish a benefit system so that everybody gets something from the training. So, and I come to that in detail. So in the pyramid scheme, we do have different levels. So we do have multipliers, which can be teachers, students, researchers. Then we do have mentors, which most of the time are teachers or students who are currently doing their internship at school. And then in the third level, we do have the pupils. So the multipliers are those who are the link between us, so the link between the training institution, the university, and the school. They bring this innovation into the school, they spread the information, they promote it, and try to gain as many mentors and tutors as possible to take part in the training. Then the second level is the mentors, And they closely collaborate with the teachers, which are the pupils, and they implement this new innovation immediately in their subjects. And the mentors are they support the tutors, and tutors should develop own workshops or teaching material, and they should train their classmates with the support of the mentors. Yes, and the benefit system can be, need to be adapted according to the needs or the environment. In our case, it could be training units or like a certificate in basic digital education in Austria, or promotion for gifted students, and so on. So, and then back to the pillars. There's the third pillar, which is the provision of continuous support. So we do have the multipliers who are at school, the responsible persons at school. However, they are in close contact with the training institution, so with us in this case. And we do have weekly consultation hours, and we can support them. Then the fourth pillar is that we use brain-based and innovative didactical methods for sustainable learning. So we use peer teaching to spread the information and the knowledge to as many people as possible. And then a very crucial pillar is the mandatory implementation in their own school system or a school setting. So they get an input where they get to know the innovation, then they have the practical phase, and then the practical phase is being reflected. And also they work with their own teaching materials, and during the practical phase, they implement the innovation in their own teaching materials. Let's say it like that. Yes, and now I want to show you our first results. So in fall 2018, we started with the first pilot phase. We worked with different tutors, multipliers, and mentors of our partner schools. We do have 5 in our project. And yeah, the tutors they got a workshop, and then they had to implement the models in a workshop in their schools. So the tutors were 12 to 14. So, and then we met again, and we had a reflection phase. They were presenting their results. And yes, I want to give you, show you some of the results. So they said it's really important, since they are not, since it's one of the first workshops they had, it's very important to be prepared and to be an expert in the content themselves. And also it's very important that they get support from their mentors, and that they get advice how to hold workshops in their classes. And also it's important that they get supported by the school, and that they have time to collaborate with the mentors, parents, with the mentors outside of class, and to be able to inform the parents and the principal. Yes, and overall the feedback was very positive. Yes, and we are looking forward to do our next round, maybe, yeah, when the pandemic ends, and hopefully we get more results by then. So at the end, I'd like to do a little bit of promotion. So please follow us on social media. You can gain our interesting videos and pictures of different models and so on. And also, since because of the pandemic, we needed to change, yeah, of course, many things in our project, and we need to switch to online workshops and so on. And to spread the diagrams, we launched a competition or a diagram guru challenge, and this will be online soon. So students from 10 to 19 can take part in this challenge, and it would be great if you could share this information to your little friends, children, nieces and nephews, and more information you can find soon on our social media platforms and on our homepage. So that's it. I'm looking forward to your questions and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Marina. The board is open for questions. One small thing before the social media things. I already in the meantime I added it on my phone. Is it expected for children or adults, and what age group if children?
The social media accounts are for children and teachers alike. So we posted content from primary school level up to higher secondary. So I think everyone finds something interesting, and the challenge is from students or pupils from 10 to 19.
Okay, thank you. So questions, please, if you have any.
I have a question. Yeah, Marina, thank you very much for your nice presentation. It was very innovative and with lots of cartoons and all these things. It's very interesting to watch your presentation. My question is that what kind of challenges you come across when you implement this project?
Sorry?
What kind of challenges you come across when you implement this project?
You mean the educational pyramid scheme in school? Yes. The challenge was one of the biggest challenges was the COVID-19. So we did the pilot phase, and then we wanted to do like and the next phase, and then COVID-19 started. So this was the heart of our project, actually, the second phase, and we needed to come up with a completely different solution, and it's very hard to keep the pyramid running online. So to reach teachers and to get multipliers, especially in this difficult situation, because they have other things to do right now and to think about, and not about how to implement this new innovative training model, let's say like that. So we really hope that after when the pandemic is over, that we can try it again and do a second phase, like a real life implementation. Yes.
Yeah, I think this is the common problem all researchers come across at this moment. Yeah.
And also another challenge is not a challenge, but it's what is the most crucial part is that you gain multipliers who are motivated. So because the multipliers are the ones who are the link between you, the university and the schools, and the ones who gain mentors and pupils. And if they are not motivated, it's really hard to reach them. Yeah, because then it starts running without you. So they are at school and they have the overview over everything.
Sometimes from my research experience, it's hard to convince the school heads. This could be one of the obstacles that we come across. because not all the school heads are very positive about researchers and things like that, because I'm also doing a project involving GeoGebra, and many of the although some of the schools are using GeoGebra already, but in practical we see the other reality, we face with other realities. The ground reality is different from what we expect.
Yeah, that's true. I'm totally with you. Yeah. So,
Thank
but in our project we do have partner schools, and that's easier then. But the next step would be to reach even more, and that's a big challenge. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. But anyway, thank you.
I just got the notification that the breakout session will end soon. So if we get interrupted, don't panic. We will see each other in the main room. I just had to point out that it's such a good coincidence that your presentation was after mine. So this might be the solution. And also, when it comes to data feedback, they found out that the best way is to install data teams with one X, like your multiplicator, a person from outside that kind of monitors, and he or she is not involved so much in the whole structure.
I needed more time for discussion.
Yes, we were in the middle of the discussion.
Oh, should we add some time for you? Like we can open the rooms again.
That would be great also for us.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I will open the rooms again. I'm so sorry that this happened. We should have added time. Yeah, we add.
Hello again.
Hi.
It's nice that you also came back, so we have the opportunity to at least finish and do an end that you deserve for this presentation. Okay.
Petra, I have a sub question, please.
Yes. You can speak.
Okay, thank you. I just opened the websites and saw some document, and thank you very much for your very interesting presentation, Marina. I saw you were presenting quite big project between Austria, Finland, and Spain.
Yeah.
And actually, my question is: the targeted country or the targeted student is only for those three, or for Europe, or actually international audience can also join this project? I mean, maybe Indonesia can participate in the project.
That would be interesting. Yeah, if you have contact, and if you're interested in, we could talk about it later. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I mean the students. Can the student, maybe Indonesian student or teachers, participate maybe in your online course?
I will let you know because the target group was originally our partner countries. However, we're still in the development of the challenge, so it's launched soon, and I will let you know. Maybe there's a possibility, because that would be great if other countries are interested as well.
Okay, thank you.
I will let you know. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
In general, it's a good opportunity if you want to stay in contact with one of the presenters. There's a link to a Padlet on the GeoGebra web page. If you didn't write down the email address, but please connect, stay in contact, cooperate. It's the mission, right?
Together. Oh, everyone is back. It was quick.
Yeah, but it was not on. We are not back on purpose because again the breakout sessions closed down.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had to return.
Oh, I will. What? I don't know what settings it was. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
It is again saying
this time there was a timer, which is also nice. It was a 1 minute timer.
Oh,
But I don't know how it happened.
How can I set the time to be longer than 1 minute? That's.
But
so I think now the rooms are open.
Yeah, it would be better to meet real life.
Welcome again, Petra. You can continue.
I was not sure. I'm sorry. I was really confused whether we go back or not.
Petra always gets interrupted.
Maybe I should just not talk anymore, but I'm stopping the recording. It's maybe a good idea.